Voters in a small Michigan township tossed out their entire town board last night. A locksmith was even brought in to change the locks on the ousted officials' former offices late night. They were voted out because they supported a controversial battery plant linked to the Chinese government.
What's happening, Buzz here? So we got a very inspiring events that went on in this small Michigan town. They vote out their entire government there, guys. Now, what did they do? What did this government do? Is they went ahead and approved the Chinese-linked factory to be built in their small town. Now, when their constituents found out, they're like, "Oh hell no, we do not want anything related to China being built in our town." Just like Sarah Huckabee Sanders did with a subsidiary company with China. It was a seed production facility or something, seed research that was being built in their state. She got rid of them. She did not want any Chinese affiliated company in her state, which is great. We love that. We love it whenever our officials do what we want them to do. And it's obvious that these government officials in this small town were not listening to their constituents, and because of that, got the double barrel middle finger, got kicked out of office, got voted out. The people showed up, said, "Nope, you're done. Finish." So let's get into it. News Nation, Michigan town votes to oust entire government over Chinese factory plans. Residents were upset over the board approving a China-linked factory. Residents, quote, "We want everyone to have a voice, not have any secrecy anymore. The new board will be sworn in on Wednesday." So this is something that's, that happens all the time in our government. This secrecy, these backdoor deals, Chinese-linked individuals, they just want to, put money in their pockets. That's what happens. That's what happens to our officials. That's what happens from the top to the bottom. It's not just at small town levels. It goes all the way to the top, people. News Nation, a rural Michigan town voted to oust its entire local government Tuesday after the town board approved Chinese-affiliated electric battery plant. Residents of Green Charter Township, Michigan strongly disapproved of their local township board's decision to greenlight the construction of a Chinese-connected electrical vehicle battery plant in their community. Look at this, guys. A locksmith even brought in Tuesday night to change the locks on the ousted officials' former offices. The offices are now empty. Damn, so they even said, "Look, as soon as y'all get it voted out, we're getting a locksmith in and we're getting those locks changed immediately. You're never going to be able to come in here to do any shady stuff again." And they did it. Good for them. The project was expected to create more than 2,300 jobs as a part of a $2.3 billion investment. Despite the backlash from residents, the board moved forward with the Chinese-affiliated project. Quote, "My family members fought communism, and you're bringing it right here," a local resident said last year. So 2,300 jobs were unfortunately lost, a part of $2.3 billion investment. That's a lot of money. That's a lot of jobs. But let's be real. Some of those jobs are probably going to be taken by Chinese individuals. They're probably going to be, shipped over to work for a little to no pay, just like it is in China. I'm sure the Chinese will figure out some way to, get their money back on their investment with their own employees. Unfortunately, when the News Nation visited the town in April, a resident named Corey Rebo, who had no experience in politics, said, "I don't know why they would approve it, other than somebody must be benefiting from it." Oh yeah, definitely benefiting from it. Rebo then ran from clerk and won last night. Quote, "We just plan on making it as difficult as possible for them to continue their process. They don't even have a site plan. They don't even have permits yet, so we're not their friend," Rebo said on how the new government is going to handle govt, the company behind the plant. Latest from the Citizen Township Charters were beginning to just look at the entire governments in an effort to stop Chinese-affiliated battery plant from being built. Let's watch.
Yeah, I just wanted to give everyone an update from Michigan, and it's a lot to type out, so I figured I'd do a quick video. You guys know I've been covering this story, several different stories with these Chinese-affiliated companies trying to move into small towns. There's this big electric vehicle battery plant trying to come to Green Charter Township, Michigan, where I am now. And basically, the citizens organized, and tonight, they just took out their entire local government. They had this recall election, and the citizens against the Chinese project have won this battle. They took out their whole village board that was voting for the project to move forward, that approved the Chinese affiliated project. Every single one.
Now that's what I'm talking about. That's journalism right there. However, it is possible communist connection that so many Green Charter Township residents said drove them to the polls and fueled the town's anger. The Chinese affiliated company govt previously denied allegations, to the Communist Party in China. Yeah, that's bullshit because there's laws over there in China that don't allow their companies to be, separated from the government. If you have a company in China, you are directly connected with that government, without a doubt. I mean, look what happened to Jack Ma. I think that's what his name. Guy with the Alibaba. He went missing for a couple weeks. He said stuff that weren't very pleasing to the governments. However, its corporate record says the company shall set up a party organization and carry out party activities in accordance with the constitution of the Communist Party in China. Right now, we are not on family terms with China. They're threatening us. I consider them an enemy. I don't want them here either, residents Harry King said. With an overwhelming distrust for the town's governments, a clerk from the neighboring township ran the election and counted the ballots. Nice. Cheers erupted as voters heard the results of the recall election held to vote out the entire election board. The new board will be sworn in on Wednesday, and the process to keep Gosha out of their township will begin. Gosha has already bought the property, so the new board is expecting a long road ahead, but they said they are willing to fight it. Quote, we want everyone to have a voice and not to have any secrecy anymore. This whole thing that went down in Gosha was horrible from the first go-around. And like I said, the people have spoken, one woman told News Nation during Tuesday's night's election celebration. News Nation reached out to Gosha for a comment. The company responded, we are a multinational company and don't believe in political posturing and are still committed to bringing thousands of jobs to the state of Michigan.
On the front pages of most newspapers, at least, and it's a race that's sending shockwaves from one small town in Michigan all the way to China. Voters in a small Michigan township tossed out their entire town board last night. A locksmith was even brought in to change the locks on the ousted officials' former offices late night. They were voted out because they supported a controversial battery plant linked to the Chinese government. It is the latest dramatic chapter in a story News Nation's been covering for the last year. And News Nation's senior national correspondent Brian Enton joins us now from Michigan. You were here last night and said that they were going to change the locks if they managed to kick them all out, and they did.
Yeah, they changed the locks, Elizabeth. I think this is almost something Americans all over the country sort of fantasize about, booting out their local government if they don't like them and they're not getting the job done. Well, that's what happened here in Green Charter Township. We're in the town hall. It's very strange because the government is just gone. They all packed up yesterday. This was the supervisor's office. He took his desk, took a bunch of other stuff. It's empty now. The clerk's office down here, Elizabeth, where they do a lot of the town business, is just empty. The new board members are going to move in, get everything going, and they say one of their biggest priorities is stopping that project that's associated with China. There's a new government in Green Charter Township, Michigan, and they didn't waste any time changing the locks at the town hall. Residents ousted their entire town board last night, upset after they approved plans for a massive Chinese-affiliated electric vehicle battery plant.
I think they thought we were a bunch of local yokel rednecks that wouldn't do anything, and we were blessed with a crew that was very intelligent.
But it's been a long journey to this point. When we first arrived in Green Charter Township last year, residents were angry.
My family members fought communism. And you're bringing it right here.
Everybody's entitled to an opinion, and guess what China's is? They don't like us.
The township board was not answering our questions about secret deals with Chinese-affiliated company Goshen.
Mr. Jernstead, my name is Brian Enton. I'm a reporter with News Nation. With News Nation.
I don't know.
Do you have a contract with Goshen involving your land?
No comment.
Did you sell Goshen your land?
I don't know yet.
Despite the backlash from what seemed like almost everyone in the town, the board moved forward with the Chinese-affiliated project. What do you make of the Chinese connection?
Well, it's very disturbing because, for one, from the beginning, there's been a complete denial of the connection.
So why here? Why do you think?
I don't know, other than somebody must be benefiting from it.
That was Corey Rebo back in April. She had no experience in politics, but ran for clerk and won last night. What can you do now to stop the Goshen project?
We just plan on making it as difficult as possible for them to continue their process. They don't have a site plan, they don't have permits yet, so we're not their friend.
We reached out to Goshen this morning, Elizabeth. They say that they are a multinational company, that they don't believe in political posturing, and that they are still committed to bringing thousands of jobs here to the state of Michigan. So it's going to be interesting to see if that's really possible with an entirely new local government here in Green Charter Township. Elizabeth?
Right, but that doesn't negate any agreements that were signed before, does it? Or can they undo it all and cancel the whole thing, the new town board?
Yeah, that's really the big question. I mean, the former board signed the development agreement. The new board can cancel it. They can create new zoning laws. That could lead to a big lawsuit for this small town. Goshen could come back and sue them. Does Goshen really want to be in a place where they're not wanted? I mean, the voters spoke for themselves yesterday. We're just going to have to wait and see how it plays out.
I guess that depends on what the motivation is for Goshen. If it's there to make friends and do business, no, you don't want to be where you're not wanted. But if it's there to spy, as the FBI is worried that these companies are doing, that's another matter entirely. I mean, just to back up those folks in Green Mountain Township, the FBI is worried about what Goshen is doing as well. So, Brian Enton, great story, great reporting tonight. Thanks so much.
So we have something great happening here in America. This is why we fought for the American dream, so that we can vote out our entire board when they don't listen to us, when they don't give a damn, when they don't care to think about what we would think. Now, this small town, they organized and they rallied up against their officials and voted them out. Give them applause, people. That's great. Good news. We don't need China coming in to our country having any kind of subsidiary, company. If they're doing anything but profiting, they are spying. We're sure of that, right? They have that big ass balloon flying in America, apparently a spy balloon. They do things blatantly and to disrespect us, disrespect everyone in America to take us down. They're not a company who's going to help us. They said something about 2,300 jobs, 2.3 billion, but in actuality, how many Chinese individuals would have been working at that plant for pennies to the dollar? Because now, let's face it, when they're working there, their families are not there in Michigan in that small town. If they even moved there, if they all got, the green cards to go and work there, some sort of permit, they would probably be sending money back to China, which would then be taxed to then get their monies back out of these individuals, because I'm sure the Chinese government would do that. They don't want them to be paid American wages. They don't care for that. They're communists. They know what you're doing. They're spying on you. They got cameras everywhere. They got all this AI technology so that you don't have freedoms. It's very sad. And unfortunately, our country is slowly leading to that path. If we're not taking up, this example right here, if we're not using this as a prime example of what we all need to do to our government officials from the very bottom to the very top. Now, the very top is Joe Biden. So in 2024, when elections come around, we need to organize. We need to start talking more about what we don't like, what this individual's doing. Now, he's doing a lot of shady stuff. We got Burisma, we got, the Ukraine, we got all kinds of backdoor shady deals to enrich themselves. Our local and state officials, and the governments do all kinds of things to, further their bank account to make more money. And they're never found out. They're never, put in jail. None of that ever happens, and it's got to change. Like, comment, subscribe to Buzz Review. See you on the next one.